Thank you for joining us today. This video is the second half of a two-part top 10 list with a friend and fellow spooky channel, NathanDuceTV. Make sure to check out the other half over on his channel. Video link will be in the description below, as well as the upper right-hand corner. Newport, Rhode Island is one of the oldest towns in the United States, settled upon in 1690. By the early 20th century, the seaport town had become a frequent summer destination for some of America's wealthiest families. The mansions of Newport have become infamous, especially as there are many ghost stories and legends tied into several of the residencies throughout the centuries. One such would be Belcourt Castle, founded by Oliver Hazard Perry Belmont, a wealthy American socialite and politician back in 1894. There are many different documented hauntings within this literal castle, but perhaps the most famous haunted object in this house were two chairs that reportedly has ties to spirits which are allegedly attached to the objects. Visitors who sit in the chairs say that they immediately feel cold, squeamish, and just downright uncomfortable. Their hands feel as if they are being pricked by static electricity when simply held near the chairs, and many people have claimed that they have felt like they are sitting on someone's lap when they attempt to take a seat within the chairs. Several visitors have also allegedly been thrown from these objects while seated in them by an unseen and unexplained force that to this day has no explanation.
Back in 1702, a convicted murderer named Thomas Busby was about to be hanged for his crimes. His last request was to have his final meal served at his favourite pub in Thirsk, England. He finished his meal, stood up and said, "May sudden death come to anyone who dares sit in my chair." The chair would remain within the pub for centuries, becoming a bit of a dare between patrons on whom dares to sit upon it. During World War II, airmen from a nearby base frequented the pub, and locals noticed that the soldiers who sat in the chair would never return from war. In 1967, two Royal Air Force pilots sat in the chair, only to crash their truck into a tree just after they left. In 1970, a mason tested his fate with the hot seat, only to die that same afternoon by falling into a hole at his job site. A year after that, a roofer who sat in it died after the roof he was working on collapsed. When the pub's cleaning lady tripped over and fell into the chair, she died shortly afterwards from a brain tumour. The death toll goes on, and finally, the pub owner moved the chair into the basement. Unfortunately, even in storage, the chair claimed yet another victim. After a delivery man took a quick rest whilst unloading packages, he was killed in a car accident later that same day. Eventually, the pub owner donated the chair to a local museum in 1972. The museum displays the chair by hanging it 5 feet in the air, so no one can possibly sit in it by mistake again. Fortunately, no one has taken a seat in the chair since.
This frightening to look at painting was kept hidden away in Sean Robinson's grandmother's attic for a little over 2 decades before he would inherit it from her. She had always told Robinson that the painting was evil, detailing that the artist who had created it used his own blood mixed into the paint and committed suicide shortly after the work's completion. The grandmother claimed to hear voices and crying when the painting was displayed, and to see a shadowy figure of a man in her home, explaining that this was the reason as to why it was locked away in the attic. As soon as Robinson took the painting into his own house, he and his family started experiencing a similar brand of strange phenomena within their own home. His son would fall down the stairs, allegedly pushed by unseen hands, while his wife experienced the sensation of someone or something stroking her hair. All while the whole family claimed to have seen a shadow being and heard disembodied crying. Robinson decided to set up a camera overnight to try to capture some of the strange events on tape. Robinson's YouTube videos show slamming doors, strange rising smoke, and the painting mysteriously falling from its place on the wall for no reason. Frightened by his findings, Robinson has placed the painting down in his basement, where it seems to rest to this day. However, he is not interested in selling or getting rid of the piece of art.
This piece of stone holds the nickname, the Goddess of Death. The Woman from LEMB is a statue carved from pure limestone that was discovered in 1878 in LEMB, Cyprus. The item dates all the way back to 3500 BC and is believed to represent a goddess, similar to a fertility idol. The statue was first owned by Lord Elfont, and within 6 years of holding the statue in his possession, all 7 of his family members would die from mysterious causes. The next 2 owners, Ivor Manucci and Lord Thompson Noel, also died along with their entire families just a few short years after taking ownership of this idol. The 4th owner, Sir Alan Biverbrook, died as well, along with his wife and 2 of their daughters. 2 of Biverbrook's sons survived and lived on. Although they weren't major believers of the occult, they were frightened enough by sudden death surrounding their family that the 2 decided to donate the statue to the Royal Scottish Museum in Edinburgh, where the relic remains to this day. Shortly after the statue was placed in the museum, the chief in charge of that section would also mysteriously die. However, none of the museum curators would admit that the item may possibly have supernatural properties. No one has handled the statue since that first museum worker who passed away, and the item is safely under glass and protected anyone else making contact.
In the year 2000, an anonymous eBay seller listed a strange painting created by artist Bill Stoneham. The work is titled "The Hands Resist Him." This painting is now infamously considered to be one of, if not the most, haunted works of art in the world. This painting focuses on a young boy and creepy little doll standing in front of a glass door. The painting was created in 1972 and was ultimately purchased by Hollywood actor John Marley. It was later bought by a California couple before it would be placed up on eBay, along with a dire warning about the problems involved with owning the object. According to the couple, the figures in the painting allegedly would move around at night, sometimes disappearing from the canvas entirely. The boy in the painting is even said to enter the room in which the painting was hung, and those who view the painting report feeling sick and weak. Small children would even take one glance at the painting and would run out of the room screaming. Adults sometimes felt as though unseen hands were grabbing them, and others said that they felt a blast of hot air. Even those who viewed the painting online claimed to feel a sense of unease, dread, and terror when looking over the painting. This piece was purchased by an art gallery in Grand Rapids, Michigan. When the gallery spoke to the artist who had created it, Stoneham was shocked to hear that his work of art was now the center of a paranormal investigation. But he did bring light to the fact that 2 people who originally displayed and reviewed the painting had died within a year of viewing the piece.